Hey, what's up, guys? Alan here with EatSleepTrade.net. Gonna be bringing you guys the watch list for the week of May 2nd, 2016. Last week was the first week, in my opinion, where the SPX has kind of started to become questionable in this current bull run that we've been in since about mid-February. So we're going to talk a little bit about the S&P 500, the levels that we're at now, and what we're going to watch for going into next week to see if some of our market strength continues. And we'll take a look, of course, at the stocks that we're going to be adding on to our swing trading watch list. So sit tight, we'll be back in just a second. Alright guys, welcome back. First up, let's take a look at the S&P 500 on the SPX and talk about a couple of levels that we have been watching, I would say, over the past month or two. We've talked about these same specific levels that are now still relevant and becoming very important in the week coming up. And one of those areas right now is that support area right around 2055, which we came down and tested on Friday. Attempted to put in a little hammer candle right here, barely holding on to that 2055. You can see that the 2075 support area that we also mentioned did not hold, which was also our 20-day moving average, and that has given out. And this is going to be really the first day that we significantly closed below that 20-day moving average since we became bullish back during the mid part of February. So it's getting very interesting up here. You got to keep a close eye on it and understand that when you're trading these small cap uptrending breakout stocks, you need the market to be trending up as well to feed into those small caps and give us the plays that we are focusing on. So I think it's very important to keep an eye on this 2055 level and understand that the 2030 level or 50-day moving average is very close in sight if we do not hold up on this 2055. Couple of good notes. We had good relative volume on Friday. You could see how big the volume was, showing that there was a lot of potential buyers down here in that 2055 support area. So that's always a good sign. It lets you know that there are still people interested in buying the stock, and they think that it's inexpensive down here at this 2055 area. So coming into next week, we need to see that area hold, and we really need to see a push back above 2075 and back above our 20-day moving average. So, a very important thing right now coming into next week, probably more important than it has been over the last 2 or 3 months, and that's keeping an eye on the overall market and understanding that if we get into a larger type pullback and a sell-off here, that it's going to affect all of the small caps that we target and attempt to trade on the long side. So very important to keep that in mind. Alright, so with that being said, let's go ahead and get into some of the stocks I'd like to add onto our watch list for this week. And first up is going to be AAN, Aaron's Inc. And this one is just reporting earnings, I believe, or did report earnings after hour, or earnings is coming up here pretty shortly. But you could see the chart had a huge gap down and kind of just sold off into a rounded bottom and has now consolidated back above its moving averages, put in a high above this 26 resistance area where it ended up gapping down and got that rejection. Managed to gap up above that and now pulled back. It's put in a pretty decent looking candle on Friday and also showed a pretty decent amount of relative volume. coming down and holding on that 50-day moving average. So I'm just kind of watching this consolidation area here, see if we can get back above this 2620 area, and if we do, we could possibly get a move back up to this prior highs over here, which are around 2770 right now, possibly that push to 28. And from there, if the earnings come out positive, or if people take them as positive, because I've seen positive earnings come out and stocks go down, and I've seen bad earnings come out and stocks go up. So it's really just dependent on how people interpret them. So keep an eye on this one. If we do start to head back up to this $28 area, there is a chance that we trend up, and we have a lot of upside potential here with a possible gap fill back up towards this 3350 area. So just kind of an interesting chart to keep on watch going into next week. Another one that I like here is IILG. This one here is a recent IPO. As you can see, it's a little bit tough to read. There's not a whole lot of data to go off, but there is one significant thing about this chart, and that is this big giant volume that it traded on Friday, which is far more volume than it's traded since it's IPO'd, and it's actually trading right now just below 14 or just above 14. And our high on this candle day, or the close, was 14.19, and that's a pretty major resistance area on this chart, is that 14.19, 14.20 area. And I think if we get the momentum and the push through 14.20, that the next high is 14.44, and beyond that, there's nothing more to gauge this chart off of. But obviously there is people that are interested in purchasing this recent IPO. It IPO'd here, had a ramp up to that 14, consolidated, and now it's kind of coming back up and testing that. So worth a watch to see if we get through that 14.20 area, as it's another chart that just doesn't really have a whole lot of built resistance into it, and recently IPO'd with big relative volume. Definitely gives it opportunity to create some big moves. Next up, let's take a look at ONB. Another one here that had very large relative volume on Friday. Let me see if I can get a better view here. There we go. So had a nice big relative volume bar, traded just under 5 million shares on 150 to 250 average volume, 250k average volume, and put in a nice engulfing candle and actually closed above this 1340 resistance area, and our next resistance area is up here at 14. So I'm going to be looking for that continuation push up and through 14 now. We're a little bit overextended above our 20-50-day moving averages, but they are trending up nicely. The RSI is also actually a little bit overbought, but this type of volume can really push these overbought charts even higher, and that range becomes much larger. So really keep this on an eye come Monday morning and see if we get a move up over through Friday's high, which was 1340, closed right at its high, and definitely set up for a potential mover up to 14. Next, let's take a look at OZM. This one's been trending down for quite some time, and now kind of looks like it's trying to put this base in right here, and finally hitting out on some lows. You can see how much volume's come in since the chart's gotten down this low, right around $3. A lot of buyers came in, propped this thing back up, and since came up, tested its 50-day moving average, got rejected on that as expected, so pulled back, and now it's just consolidating, and actually created a nice engulfing candle Friday, and large relative volume again compared to the rest of the chart. So for me, this kind of looks like it's set up to make its next move higher and break out of its 50-day moving average. So look for a move over $4, through $4, and through its 50-day moving average at 410 for possible breakout move, and testing the prior highs, which right now are about 418. So keep an eye on that. Looks like it could see a continuation move off this pullback and possibly putting in a higher low here. Next up, AREX. and setting up a really nice bull flag. You guys can see the big breakout it had over its moving averages back here on the huge volume. Consolidated out, got another nice push, and testing up here at $3 now, and pulled back, making a nice bullish Harami. Set up there on that flag. Both of our moving averages are trending up. RSI is still a little bit overbought, so may have a hard time breaking out of this flag. But if we do get up through this 312 area, which is a major resistance area, our next test could bring us all the way to $4. So we could see some pretty big range coming in on this one if the volume continues and we get a break to the top side of this flag. So definitely worth keeping on watch into next week. Next, let's look at HLTH. You can see our downtrend line right here. We've recently just broken above that. We established that resistance area after breaking out of a trend, pulled back, found support, and have now actually broken out above that prior resistance area, giving us a nice new uptrend to come off of. Our prior highs are right here around 450. We've pulled back and consolidated nicely, and actually coming right down to our 20-day moving average, allowing the RSI to come off being overbought and holding that support there just around $4. And I'm going to look for a continuation move to the top side. And typically all I'm looking for is for this trend or this consolidation to break and change. And probably be looking for an entry in that back towards our high of 450 through 450. Kind of gives us a lot of open space up above to see where we could test out on this one. We also have these, prior highs back here, just under $6, which will definitely be a significant area that we could look at testing if we get that break back above this 450 area, which you can see was a support area, broken down, support turns to resistance, and that's the area we're going to be looking to break above next. So let's go ahead and save that real quick. Next, I want to take a look at UAN. This was a previous trader. It was on our swing watch list, I believe 2 weeks ago here at 418 for a move back towards $9. The high on Friday was $8.89, so it came within 11 cents of that $9 range. Nice large big volume coming up overbought to the RSI and actually forming up a nice flag now. So I'll be looking for any type of breakout continuation over this flag, and could definitely see a pretty good size move through $9. You've also got some resistance here around $9.35, and then your next major resistance is going to be up here around $10.50. So those will be a couple areas that you want to keep in mind. Next up on the list, let's look at GRAM. This one's actually had a couple of really nice big runs. Geez, would have loved to be a part of these ones here. But you can see the large ramp, big volume that came in. Look at the big relative volume spike that happened prior to the chart ramping up. Very similar to CC. You remember this big volume day was the whole reason that CC even became on our radar. And since we've added it to our watch list, it's made a move from under $4 all the way up over $9 now, giving us 3 different trades and tons of other opportunities too that we didn't trade, but 3 specifically that we were able to trade. So those big volume days like that oftentimes are a sign that a large money or a big investor knows something about this stock or has some insider information that is going to be released to the public at a later date, which was probably around this time. So you could probably look at maybe there was earnings released, maybe there was some type of PR release that caused this big move to happen and all the volume to surge in. The volume or the stock consolidated for 2 or 3 months and now just had another huge ramp just for the last few weeks. So for me, this one is definitely worth putting on watch. We have started to put in a higher low right here. So you've got a simple trend to follow now. And holding up this $6 area is going to be pretty important. Actually, it's more like $6.50. So the $6.50 area is going to be a significant support area. You've got your 20-day moving average at 6 right now, so you're still quite a bit extended from that moving average. Also still slightly overbought on the RSI. So this one might need some more time to cool off, but I think it's worth adding to the watch list and waiting to see if we get some more volume coming in and possibly set up for another swing or breakout move higher. As you can see, very large breakout moves over multiple days. So something you could easily get into and scale out of and lock profits while you make your way out. Alright guys, well that's going to wrap it up for the watch list for this week. If you have any questions or suggestions, please leave them in the comments below. Don't forget to like and subscribe for future videos. Also check out our website, eatsleeptrade.net. We got tons of lessons on there for swing trading, technical analysis, candlesticks, charts, and please feel free to reach out if you guys have any questions or any concerns, anything like that. And thank you guys for watching, and good luck into next week, and we'll see you into the next video.